Good morning everyone. We are going to learn Android programming. Remember one thing, any Android programming will have two parts. This is one part, the main Android programming part, and this is the XML part. It is just similar with the programming that we have done in case of applet. Applet will have two parts, the HTML part and the main applet coding part. Just like that programming, we will have two parts. Now, whenever you are going to write any Android programming, you need to import some packages. So these are the set of packages that you have to import. Now the question is, what is the meaning of this particular package? Now, app compact activity. This is written in capital. You know that whichever written in capital, it is a class name. So app compact activity class, which is imported from the package, and the package name is app. So this imports the app compact activity class from the Android X dot app compact dot app package. So here the actual package name is this one, androidx.appcompact.app, and this class is inside this package. Remember this thing. App compact activity is a base class for activities that you want to use. That is, it is used for the activity that supports libraries, actions, and some features. And the next part is this one, import android.os.bundle. Now what is this? Again, this imports the bundle class from the android.os package. Bundle is a data structure, remember this point, that maps string keys to values. So this is the main point you have to remember. Now let's talk about this package. So here import android.view.view. This imports the view class from the android.view package. So this view class is again the base class for all user interface components in Android. It represents the basic building block for user interface elements such as buttons, text field, and images. Now let's talk about the last package, that is import Android widget.toast. So this imports the toast class from the android.widget package. Toast is a transient notification that appears as a small pop-up message at the bottom of the screen. This is commonly used to display brief messages to the user, just like hi, hello, something like this. So remember, this toast class is very important. This is used for transient notification that appears at the small pop-out as a small pop-out message at the bottom of the screen. Remember this point. This is all about these packages. Now, if you see this line, I hope you can remember what is this line is all about. Here we are writing a class which is public in nature, and we are extending a super class, and the name of the super class is app compact activity, right? So it is just like an applet, where applet class extends a superclass applet. Here we are extending app compact activity class. So here what we are doing, it serves as a main activity of an Android application and inherits functionality of the app compact activity class. So remember this point. Now let's talk about the rest of the part of this programming. Now in the given code, if we talk about the rest of the part, we will find that we will have protected void onCreate method. So this protected void onCreate method, it declares the onCreate method, and the need of this onCreate method is what? Which is a lifecycle callback method in Android. So just like an applet thread, Android programming will have its own life cycle. So this is a callback method in Android. So it calls what? It is called when the activity is first created. So onCreate method is used when the activity is first created. The protected access modifier here, please look at this. The protected access modifier indicates that this method can be accessed within the same class and its subclasses. The method takes a bundle of parameter. What is that? Bundle saved instance state. So this is a parameter, remember, which is used to pass data between activity instances or to restore activity's previous state. Please make a note why this saved instant state parameter is used. And why it is a parameter, you know that we are passing inside the round bracket after a method. So that's why, remember, this specific parameter is used to pass data between activity instances. Now you will find a very common keyword that is used in Java, super. So what I am doing, so whenever you find super dot method name, so you know that what is the meaning. So here super dot onCreate method, this line calls onCreate method of superclass. Which superclass? The superclass name is app compact activity. So app compact activity is the superclass, and we are going to call by using super dot onCreate method. This is necessary to ensure that the superclass can perform any necessary initialization before the subclass's onCreate method evaluates. Now come to the next part, that is set content view. So this set content view, this line set the content of the view of the activity to the layout defined in the XML file activity underscore main.xml. So whichever activity I am mentioning here, that is activity underscore main.xml. So we are going to use this one. So set content view. By using this line, we are setting a content view of the activity of the layout defined in the XML file that I have mentioned just now. Now, set content view method is responsible for inflating the layout and displaying it on the screen. Now, the biggest question is, what is the meaning of inflating? So in the context of Android development, inflating refers to the process of converting an XML layout file into corresponding view objects in memory. Now again the question is, what is view object? So in Android development, view object represents a rectangular area on the screen that is responsible for drawing and handling user interactions. So views are the fundamental building blocks, you can say, of the user interface in an Android application. So please make a note over here. Now you can ask me another question. So why this XML is used? See, this XML is used in Android to define user interface layout, and basically it manages the application resources and it configures various aspects of the application. So that's why designing this XML file is very important. Now I have used another method, show toast. By using this method, I have printed a message, hi. This is the main thing that you have to remember. And now after that, if you talk about the meaning of this XML file, see, if you observe this line carefully, so what is the meaning of this line? This line is an XML declaration specifying the various, you can say that it is specifying the versions of XML being used. See here, the version is 1.0 and the character encoding is UTF-8 for the document. It ensures that the XML parser interprets the document correctly. So for interpretation purpose, this line is used. Now you will find that I have written over here relative layout. So what is this relative layout? So relative layout marks the beginning of a relative layout element in an XML layout file. Please remember this one. And what is the meaning of this line? So meaning of this line is very simple. This XML attribute declares a namespace alias Android. So now the question is, what is a namespace alias? So namespace alias is a shorthand or abbreviation that is used to represent the namespace URI, that is Uniform Resource Identifier, within an XML document. It allows developer to reference elements and attributes from a specific namespace more easily. So this is the meaning. And now if you go forward to the XML coding, you will find another part, that is XML ns colon tools and this line. So what is the meaning of this line? It declares again a namespace alias, and now the namespace alias is tools. So my point is, this line declares a namespace alias tools and associate it with the namespace URI. So these are the meaning of this XML file. Then you will find Android colon layout. So this line. So it is similar to the previous attribute, and this attribute specifies the height of the element to match the height of its parent. It sets the height of the relative layout to match the height of the parent layout. So remember this point. And then we have Android layout. But if you talk about this tool context, so this tool context main activity, this attribute is specific to Android Studio's layout editor and design time tools. It specifies the context for the layout file. So in this case, it indicates what? It indicates that the layout is associated with the main activity class, allowing Android Studio to provide better design, time, support and suggestion for the layout. So these are the very important part. But this part is very simple. From the name you can guess. So the line starts with the definition button element, and then we have Android layout width. So we have done this type of coding in case of applet, I think you remember. So this attribute sets the width of the button to wrap its content. So what is the meaning? It will adjust the width of the base of the size of the text. Then we have this line. So what is the meaning of this line? You can guess. This attribute sets the height of the button to wrap the content. And then we have show toast. So what is the meaning of this line? This attribute specifies the name of the method to invoke when the button is clicked. And then if you move forward, you will find there is another line, this one, the last line. So in this case, this attribute centers the button horizontally and vertically within its parent layout, ensuring it is positioned at the center of the screen. This is very important. So this is all about Android programming. I think it is very easy to understand. But I want to tell you one point. In the beginning of this video, I have already explained that just like an applet and thread, this Android programming do have a particular life cycle. So now please pay attention. So this is the life cycle of an Android programming. So if you focus on this diagram, you will understand that the life cycle method of an Android activity represents different stages of its existence, from creation to destruction. So what are the methods? You can see there are onCreate method. So onCreate method means when the activity is first created. Then you have onStart method. See, in the second you have onStart method. So it is called when the activity becomes visible to the user. Then we have onResume method. It is called when the activity starts interacting with the user. Then we have onPause, definitely. And onPause method is called when the activity is partially obscured by another activity. Please make a note. So this is where you should pause ongoing operations. Now you have onStop method. So why onStop method is used? It is called when the activity is no longer visible to the user. Then we have onRestart. So what is the meaning of onRestart method? So onRestart method is called after the activity has been stopped prior to its beginning for the second time. Then you have onDestroy method. Definitely it is called before the activity is destroyed. So this is where you should release all the resources. So releasing resources means you are calling onDestroy method. And while discussing this thing, I find another question which is very important. That is, what is the Android architecture? Now, please pay attention to this. If it is asked that what is the architecture of an Android, it is very, very important. But if you see this diagram, you will find that you will have Linux kernel at the bottom of this architecture. So basically my point is at the core of the Android operating system, there is a Linux kernel and it provides essential functionalities such as memory management, process management, hardware drivers, and security. Say this thing. After that, you will find just top of the Linux kernel, there is a platform library and there is a ART means Android runtime. So platform libraries means Android includes a set of native libraries written in C or C++ which provide core system functionalities. So this libraries covers various aspects such as graphics rendering, OpenGL, just like OpenGL, multimedia processing, media framework, just like media framework, networking. Networking means bionic, so this may be one of the examples. So why we are using this? They are responsible for low level tasks and they are used for optimizing performance for Android applications. So remember one simple word why these platform libraries are used. So they are responsible for low level tasks and optimizing performance for Android applications. And then what is ART means Android runtime? Android runtime is responsible for executing Android applications. That's it. Means it includes the core runtime environment and libraries necessary for running the Android applications. So this is the very simple thing you have to remember. And then you have one Android framework. So the application framework inside this Android architecture, you have to remember one point. This application framework layer provides a rich set of APIs and the components for building Android application. So it includes reusable components such as activities, services, content providers, broadcast receivers, intents, and resources. So remember this point. If this question is asked, what is broadcast receiver? You can write it in this way. Within the Android architecture, we have one application framework where this broadcast receivers are there. Means application framework of Android includes broadcast receivers along with other components like activity, services, intents, and resources. So this components abstracts away the complex functionality So this is the very important thing. Whenever you have complex functionalities, all these components that we are discussing as a part of application framework of an Android programming, it abstracts away the complex functionalities and provide developers with the high level of interfaces for creating feature rich application. So remember this very, very basic point, and at the top of this architecture you have applications. So Android applications are built on the top of the application framework layer, as you can see from this diagram. They run as a separate process within the Android operating system. So this thing you have to remember. But if you can ask me about this application layer, I can tell you that this Android application encompasses a wide range of functionalities that includes interfaces, multimedia, playback, communication, data storage, and so on. So this is all about Android programming and their architecture and its life cycle.